Hello. For whatever reason, I'm struggling with the pen feature on my PowerPoint. So please bear with me and we'll try to get through this together. So what we're going to do here is to look at two problems, and my goal is that you do these via your calculator. So in the MyLab assignment, it will show you how to do these basically by hand, and that is not my goal at all. So let's focus on using the calculator. Your handheld calculator will be a little nicer than this one that I have on my computer, but we'll talk through it and make sure that you know all the steps. So for the first problem, I want to start by entering the first number on the top of the fraction. So 8.26 and then times 10. On this calculator, I have this X to the Y button, which is going to let me get an exponent. So I'll click that, and you can see up here it shows the caret key, and that's the key that you have on your calculator, and that is to the 9th power. So that's the top number entered, and then I'll hit divide. And this calculator shows me what big number that is. And so that's a number that would be very difficult to type in to a handheld calculator. So our calculator has it in scientific notation, understands it. Now I'm ready to type the denominator, and the key about typing denominators is to make our calculator understand that the entire number is in the denominator. So on our calculator, what we're going to be doing is adding a set of parentheses so that this is all in the denominator. So on the calculator, I've already hit the division, so I'll start with a parenthesis, and then I'll type the number that I want in the denominator. So 4.13 times 10 to the 7th power. And then I'll end the parentheses because that's the end of what's in the denominator. And so then this calculator shows me the value of just that denominator. In order to get my answer, I hit equals. And so we have that this math problem is equal to 200. And our directions here say both scientific and decimal notation. So this is decimal notation. To put this into scientific notation, what I have to do is I have to move the decimal, which is currently here at the end, 2 places. So I move it 1, 2 places. Why do I move it 2 places? Well, scientific notation says that we may have only 1 digit in front of our decimal. So now I have 2, and that's my 1 digit. If you want to write 2.0, you could. And how far did I move my decimal? Well, I moved it 2 places, so I put times 10 to the 2nd power. I know that this exponent should be positive because I had a bigger number to start out with. So our second one looks even more complicated, but we're going to use the same strategies. When I look at this problem, it already has parentheses. So this is going to be my starting point with that very first parenthesis. I also see that it has division. So from what we learned in the first example, we're going to have to add a set of parentheses around the denominator to get that all in the denominator. So I'll pull up my calculator and clear this out from before, and let's get started. We said start with a parenthesis, and then we'll type 2.69 times 10 to the, and here we want a -5. On your calculator, the subtraction key and the negative key are 2 different keys. So make sure you're using the negative key, which will be at the very bottom edge of your calculator. On this computerized calculator, I have to type 5 and then negative, but on your calculator, you'll type negative and then 5. So 5, make it negative. So that is the top of the fraction. The next thing I want to do is to divide. And I want to divide by the full number that's in the denominator. So I'm going to need to put in a parenthesis that we hand wrote in. So divided by parenthesis. And I type this number. So 2 times 10 to the, and again, I have to use that negative to put a -4th power. That is the end of the denominator. So I will end a set of parentheses. And you can see this computerized calculator shows you the value of that denominator. I also see that in the actual problem, there's a parenthesis before I go to the exponent. So I end my other parenthesis. And now I'm seeing the value of the fraction. But the problem asks me to raise this to the third power. So I use my caret key, my x to the y key in the third power, and I hit equals, and it gives me my answer. So in this answer, I'm going to write it down. Let's go 5 decimal places. I didn't tell you how to round, but I don't want to write the whole thing. So 0.00243. So this equals 0.00243. So that is decimal notation. And then it asks us for scientific notation as well. So in scientific notation, we can only have one digit in front of the decimal. So I'm going to take my decimal 1, 2, 3 spots. And so then I will write equals 2.43, because that's the remaining digits, times 10. I moved the decimal 3 places, and that decimal point was moving the opposite direction as before. The original number itself is less than 1, and so this should be a negative. And so that is my answer in both decimal and scientific notation, and my answer was gotten all by entering it in the calculator, not by doing any by hand math. And that is my goal for you, just to be able to put any kind of crazy problem in your calculator.